welcome to the Closer Conversations podcast, powered by the Connect CTNY community. I'm one of your hosts, Austin Glazer, joined by my friend, confidant friend, again, Mike Spindler. And today we are joined by the one and only Brandon Gaydorus of Warm Heart Life, as well as the founder of the A to B Con. And how you doing?
What's up, man?
You got a mic?
Got a mic, and I got a mic.
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty incredible. Excited to be at this new spot. I got surrounded by the Bourbon Boys. Excited for a good talk today.
Yep, that bottle has gone pretty quickly, not for nothing.
Well,
in 3 episodes, it's pretty much at its last.
A lot of people know that I like to drink. You know, and I have actually, the only time I poured one by myself was during the rainstorm. I poured a glass. Other than that, it's been you and I every time.
Yeah.
Is it
It's
empty?
kind of sad, actually, that we've drank that much.
I'm very happy with it. What are you pulling the move on Brandon right now? What's with the arm?
Good-looking guy, nice purple shirt. I think we should get right into the meat and potatoes of this podcast.
Were you gonna make him hold the mic the entire time, or are you guys gonna keep switching? Like, what's going on?
He's getting a little shoulder work.
Yeah, I know. Keep switching.
I want to know, like, give me the background on Warm Heart Life, like how you got into it, what made you start it, like give us let's start from the very, very beginning.
The top.
And if we had a little editing, you could hear that little music, like
There'll be no editing.
There'll be no editing, no.
No, don't get your hopes up.
Well, I think like most people who played sports growing up, I wanted to be a professional golfer. I realized quickly that that's not where I was meant to be.
Don't tell Austin that. I think he's still trying to go for it.
So I ended up going to school to be in the golf business. And what happened is when I was in the golf business, I started getting exposed to some of the most successful people in the world. I mean, you're talking billionaires, 100+ millionaires. They were all around. And I was like, wow, what is this world? Because I grew up in Binghamton, New York, where you're making over 6 figures a year. It's like you're really wealthy. Right. Then I go to Rumson, New Jersey, my first summer. It was Bruce Springsteen had a place there. I mean, all these people who were the high-end investment bankers, they would commute to New York, a lot of them. And I was seeing this whole different world. So I was like, okay, what else is out there? So the next year I went to Cape Cod, and then I saw a whole different world out there. I was like, man, this is kind of cool. I mean, the guy who sold D'Angelo's was a member there. I think he sold that for $500 million. If you don't know what D'Angelo's is, it's like the Subway of the Northeast. And like one of the guys who was like the guy in Coca-Cola, he was a member there. And it was just like, man, instead of it would be nice to be a pro athlete, I was like, man, it's possible to be one of these top guys in the business world. So my interest was shifted to the fitness side. I was like, okay, this is what interests me. So at 20 years old, I heard a guy say he wanted to be the best in the world at what he did, and all he did was write down the top 10 people. And he became one of the best in the world. So I was the guy who would fall asleep in school. I hated school.
I was the same way, by the way.
Yeah.
I didn't go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would just show up and I would put my hands on my forehead. And this presentation that this guy gave, it was at nighttime. Last thing I wanted to do was be there. But then he just said something so simply that clicked with me. And I was like, okay, well, let me do that. So I started applying this concept of learning from the best people in the world. I said, screw the how. If I were to learn from the best people in the world, who would those be? Now let me take some action to try and figure out how to get associated with them. And I got in Duke University, University of North Carolina, Binghamton University. When I would go on winter break, I got to shadow them. And then 3 weeks into this process, I was on the phone with the guy that I thought was the Mecca of this world. He was he worked with some of the top pro golfers in the world. And he told me everything I needed to do. So then I just pursued that hard. At 26, I got voted top 50 in America. Got in Golf Digest, was already published my first book. Actually, my second book was just about to be released too, in personal development. And then I was like, okay, I'm not fulfilled. So I took a lot of time to think about it. I said, the next mountain I climb, now that I understand how to climb, how to chase, how to get through roadblocks, how to connect with people that can help me climb higher. What do I want that mountain to be? And I saw a mountain that I never saw before. I was like, man, that mountain, I want to climb with a massive group of people. So I created Warm Heart Life based off core values. I had an idea where I wanted to go, but I didn't have any business. I
Gotta
just
start somewhere.
Yeah, because I had a fitness business that was.
So this was completely different.
This was well, originally it was called Warm Heart Fitness and Entertainment.
Okay.
And the idea was, you probably don't even know this story. So it was the idea was to have a world-class gym facility that had the best shows at night. Like in the gym, it would turn into a concert facility at night. Yeah, for up and coming artists. So the goal was to have the best gym facility around, and then the best music venue around for up and coming artists. So I was looking at gyms, I was doing all this stuff, I was meeting with people. I worked concerts in 2017 to kind of get an idea of what that was like, and I pursued it. I mean, I was doing Warm Heart Fitness and Entertainment, where most of my money was coming in from the fitness, but I still was trying to build this entertainment side. And so my first event was in 2019, and it was a musician showcase. I realized that there was a lot of confusion between the fitness and the entertainment side. So that's when Warm Heart Life officially started. So I separated the two companies, and I had my first event at Garcia's in the Capitol Theater
That's cool, man.
yeah, in 2019. And I learned a lot about promotion because I had like 10 tickets sold with 6 days left. I told my mentor, I said, what do I do? He said, well, Brandon, you messed up in the nicest way. You messed up. He used some other language. And I was like, okay, well, what do I do? He said, partner with a local food bank, interview them, get some positive attention, and tell people they can donate some non-perishables. You can write it as a tax write-off, and just take the money hit. Just get people there. So we probably ended up getting 60, 80 people there on a Tuesday night, and it snowed. So I was super, super happy with that. Lost thousands of dollars on that event, but no one needed to know that. And I said,
We've lived that, by the way.
yeah, I said, like, it was a great event. So I was like, ready to do the next one. And then the pandemic happened.
Oh, wow.
I was literally in the office at the Capitol Theater in, I think, the first week of March. I had the contract. I just got it. I was getting ready to go home and fill it out and commit to doing it in the middle of May. Then I started hearing the buzz about what was going on. I was like, damn. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to sign that contract. I called my mentor. I said, so what do I do? He said, I don't know. He said, I know one thing, you're not going to be able to go chase girls at the bar anymore. He said, I could tell you this. He's like, I really don't know what's going to happen, but I know one thing. You got to be there for your people. So I said, okay. I had this musician showcase, and I had 4 interns that actually paid a stipend. Like, I was like, most of the time I was just mentoring them. So why don't I start a mentorship internship program? So that's how I started shifting to the education side with Warm Heart Life. And I just posted a thing on Indeed. I said, hey, I'm doing this internship mentorship program. You're not going to get paid. I'm not going to pay you, but you're going to understand how to actually get an internship, and you're going to be able to get school credit, because this is the main thing I learned from internships.
Right.
So, and I knew people needed an opportunity, so I posted that up on Indeed, and the first 5-week course, I had like 10 people in it. And I probably did that another 7, 8 times. And that led into my book called Skip College, Read This. And my first personal development event was at the end of that run, which was in October of 2021. And my mentor said, Brandon, I seen what you're doing. I hopped on to your mentees calls. you got the books out now. He said, you're ready to start teaching a speaker school. I thought he was nuts. And 2 months later, I was nuts enough to call the best speaker I knew in the area, Mr. Carl Michelle.
What's up, King Carl?
And then a week later, we did a speaker school that just kind of as a joke, got more positive feedback than I would have ever expected. Did that throughout 2022, eventually turned it into a 2-day, and now we just went on a international tour in 2023. So it's been a heck of a run with Warm Heart Life, but that's how it started.
So the one thing that I want to touch on with what you just said there, right towards the end, is your second book, right? What was it called again? It was about school, right?
Skip college, read this.
So now, did you go to college?
I actually have a master's degree. Yeah.
You do have a master's degree, but you're very successful. And I think, the one thing that I've noticed with me doing this podcast is like, you don't need to have a master's degree to be successful, especially in business, in entrepreneurship. You don't need a college degree, right? Is that what that book is about? Or like what like give me the kind of the rundown on that book.
It's a great point. So I'm not against colleges, especially like the goal with Warm Heart Life is to have 10,000 student universities and have the most impactful education system in the world. So I'm not against colleges. I may actually collaborate with them in the future because they're not doing what I'm doing, and they're either going to want to collaborate or, in the nicest way, I'm just going to keep running past them
Are
because
they even teaching are they teaching public speaking in school? Or?
they might teach it, but what I teach is so much more than just public speaking. Public speaking is the niche that I'm using now to get access into some of the biggest corporations in America and to get people talking positively about Warm Heart Life because everybody could use the art of communication.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, the first thing I say in there is I'm not against colleges, but I say if you're in school and you apply this, you'll probably get 10 times more out of your college
So
experience.
it's just an added value.
Yeah.
So tell me, how you doing, guys? I'm still here. So tell me, the process of writing a book, I mean, I can't even imagine what that's like. Were you like in Microsoft Word, like writing everything down? And it sounds like a silly question, but I guarantee you that 90% of the people listening out there have no idea. Like, where do you start? Like, did you just open Microsoft Word one day and you're like, shit, I'm going to write a book? Or is it similar to when we create our game plans for public speaking where you come up with, topics and subpoints?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at this
Yeah,
hosting
you've
thing.
done this once or twice. Well, the thing is, when I was 23, I wanted to write a book. I told my mentor, I said, this is a different mentor. I said,
We're rich with mentors.
yeah, I love mentors. So I told my mentor at the gym, I said, I want to write a book. And I started writing it. I got like a page or two down. And then she sits down with me and she goes, Brandon, why would you write a book right now? She's like, why don't you wait 10 years, get really good at what you do, and then write the book? So I stopped writing. 2 years later, I go to this conference. It was Grant Cardone's growth conference. There's like 10,000 people there. This guy gets up on stage and he said he just expressed his whole vision. I had no idea who he was. He was captivating me the entire time. And he said that he wrote his first book at 25. So I was transitioning into 25. I was at the tail end of 24. I said, screw this. I'm writing my book. And then at that same conference, there was a guy, Andy Frisella, who spoke, and he talked about how the small wins add up to the big wins over time. So he gave this thing that I could do every day where you put 5 things down on top of everything that you're doing, that if you can get those 5 things done, you're going to be 5 times more ahead of everybody essentially every single day. So I was like, okay, let me put work on book. So pretty much every day I'd put work on book. And of course, not every day I would work on it, but almost every day I was. And I was in grad school. They go, Brandon, do you want to submit your thesis for publication? I said, no, I'm turning it into a book. So I turned essentially all the research I did in that, I turned it into an actual book. And that book is paid for probably at least half of my grad school. So That's how I started doing the first book. I really didn't know how. I just knew if I worked on it once every day, then that would happen. And then the next year was when I wrote my first personal development book, which was a lot of writing. And I just wrote down all of the key points that I had learned from mentors, and I started writing stories about them.
All right. Well, changing tones here. Rapid fire questions for you. If you were stranded on an island and you could only bring one item, what would you bring, Brandon?
Well, from the Survivor days, I would guess, knowing that I don't know how to make a fire, I would probably want like a lighter.
A lighter's a very common answer that I've heard. Dating apps, I often open with that question. Needless to say, there are not many dates.
I was gonna say, how has that worked out?
Here, Mike, you ask him another rapid fire question.
Wait, I got a question. So I haven't used a dating app since probably 2017. What are the dating apps like nowadays?
Oh, they're shit. They're terrible. You know, this could be a great clip talking about dating apps. The problem with dating apps is that everybody judges you based on your replies and your conversations and your texts, right? They don't actually know who you are, right? I'm the most sarcastic person I know.
Yeah.
And like you can't, like, you know, I'm very sarcastic. Like I'm miserable fuck 90% of the time, but only on the outside. Inside I'm flowers, you know? And people judge you based on your replies. And it's like, I also don't like the texting thing. Like, what's going on? Nothing. How's your day? Good. Great. Talk to you later. You know, it's fucking,
Same.
it's terrible. So that's what's going on. Why are you not in the apps? What's going on?
I used to do the apps in 2017.
Dude, that's like a thousand. I was 6, you know?
Yeah, but then it just felt so awkward. Like anytime I was on a date with someone I met from the dating app, and I was so sick of being the guy who would just wait for my friends to go and talk to the girls I wanted to talk to. So I just said, okay, I want to go on 10 dates without a dating app. That was my goal in 2018.
Shit, I gotta start thinking like you, dude. I don't goal plan my dating.
You should get like a goal board up there for how many dates there you go
I got a
on.
goal board, but it's not.
It's not set for dates.
It's satiate.
All right, so wait, so rapid fire. Sticking with the rapid fire.
I like rapid fire. We know who Brandon is now.
Go-to pickup line. Beautiful girl at the bar. Go-to pickup line. Since you're not on the dating apps.
Yeah.
Go-to pickup line. Like, what's the approach?
Wait, I have a question.
Give me the whole strategy.
Before you answer this question, I have a question. So take me through the situation, okay? You walk into a bar, you're with your friends, you just see a girl standing there, like, I'm gonna go talk to her. Do you check to see if she has a boyfriend? Like, how do you know that you can just walk
give
up
us
to
the
her?
whole strategy.
Yeah, take us through it, Brandon.
Yeah. So if they're totally closed off, then that's typically a no-go.
You don't want to like tap them on the shoulder, be like, "Hey, how you doing? It's me."
Yeah, so when I started
Like,
No, but that's a really good point to anyone who's listening to this. So when I started studying this stuff, I started studying the approach. And one of the things that I learned was that you never approach a girl from behind or directly in front. You always want to go slightly to the side.
Okay. Like what? Like you walk like kind of like this?
Like a little shimmy.
Yeah, like right in there. Yeah. No.
Check, we're still recording while I'm up.
Yeah.
We are. That's great news.
Yeah, so because if you tap them from behind, it's just really weird.
It's like Jaws, kind of,
If you're like right in front of them, it could feel kind of awkward in their position. So yeah, that was a big. It's kind of like that 45-degree angle, and that was really helpful.
Right. So body language. So you walk in. So body language is one. Then you gotta like create your approach, which is to the side.
Yeah.
What's next?
And like the moment you lock eyes with them, you got about 3 seconds to either go up to them or not.
Eye contact is huge.
They can sense the lack of confidence and hesitation. If you look at them and then you wait like 30 seconds and then go up to them. It's another thing if you kind of like lock eyes with them and you're playing it cool and they kind of like the way you're smirking at them. That's another situation. But in general, especially in the beginning days of going out of your comfort zone to do this, it's just like you see someone, you go. And that was super helpful. So like pickup lines, I never even.
What do you say?
Well, like the main thing that I learned that changed my life was, hey, what's your name?
Simple.
Hey, what's your, because
basic.
it's a compliment when you go up to someone, whether you totally mess up your words or not, and this could be in the professional setting too. If you literally just go up to someone and say, like, nothing right there, it's a compliment. Like, if nothing were to come out of your mouth, 'cause I remember I approached a
I'm gonna go try this
yeah,
right now.
but and there's a lot of other things that are pretty easy. Like, oh, that looks like a good drink. Maybe I should get the same. You know, what is it? Like, those are such easy ways to open.
You know, it's funny you say something like that. It's like simple sales and anything, right? Mike's learning to golf. He bought a $200 set of shitty golf clubs the other day.
300.
Sorry. He makes money, but buys a beginner set. Nonetheless, with golf, with business, simple sells, right? You want to dumb everything down, keep it simple. It's like when you swing a golf club, the lighter you swing, you don't try to kill it, the better it's going to go. Kind of relating to talking to a girl at the bar. I think it's so interesting how in life everybody tries to overcomplicate things, but you don't always need to do that.
Yeah.
And in three of my favorite things, work, women, and golf, it's all about simplicity, So I think
like that.
it's an interesting take. I've never said that before. We're going to make a clip out of this if we ever get around to
We
it.
got lots of reels in this podcast. So.
Oh, yeah. Mike's our Reels guy. We tasked him with that now.
You're in good
Got a
hands.
reply?
I mean, I'll take that point and I'll add that, like, from my perspective, right? Like, a lot of realtors, they get business from cold calling, right? And they go off a script, and it's like, you got to say this at this point. Honestly, I use zero script, because if you just go right off the top of your head, it's nice and easy. It's actually fluid conversation. It's more natural, and like you said, easier the better, right? It's less complicated. You don't have to memorize anything. You'll have more success with it, and people kind of, take you or take to you a little bit better.
For sure.
But sticking with that rapid fire, give me the Brandon Gaydorus, like, successful daily routine.
Oh, I wanted to ask that.
Glad I got there before you.
Me too.
Yeah,
Some more bourbon?
I'm good. You good?
If you're good.
yeah, so another great question. I could tell you guys I've done one or two of these.
It's one. We've done one.
Yeah, so I don't have a daily routine. I just have the thing I can go in depth with the thing I talked about earlier. I have 5 critical tasks that I put on every day, and if I get those 5 things done, then I win the day. And I feel accomplished. I feel like I achieved what I needed to do. Then I'm able to reflect at the end of the day or in the next morning, okay, what are the 5 most important things I need here on top of everything else I have going on? And then anything else that needs to still be noted, I'll put like a star and I'll put that under just so I have that there. So, a lot of people are like, wow, Brandon, like, you're such like a people guy. You'll go out to the bars, you'll hang out with us, you'll get to know us, like, but yet you get so much done. And it's because that's what I follow. I just know if I'm not working out enough, I put that in my critical task. If there's something that I need to take care of, I put that in my critical task. And that's how I like going about my day. I don't like overcomplicating things. Like the whole morning routine thing, it's just never been me. It probably will never be me. I have what works for me, and other people have what works for them.
Brandon, as we begin to wind down, I want to leave you with one final question. If you could have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, first off, who would they be? Second off, what would you eat? Third off, where would you go? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Well, I'll start with the second part. So some people eat to live, and some people live to eat. Did I get that right?
Something like that.
Something like that. I eat so I can live. I definitely don't live to eat. So
Want some cheese?
Yeah. So like what?
Got a lot of it.
I got a lot of cheese in the fridge.
So what I would eat would probably just be whatever it seems to be good that day.
Okay.
Maybe like chicken, rice, and vegetables. Yeah.
Healthy.
Yeah. So pretty
Your
simple.
last meal, that's what you would choose? Did I say last meal? All right, we'll stick with your question. I got a question from Mike after.
But my 3 would probably be. They're all dead, so I would.
R.I.P.
Yeah, I would say Jerry.
Pour a little out.
Yeah,
Not on the floor, no.
yeah. I would say Jerry Weintraub, who, if you don't know who he
I
is,
don't think either of us know who he is.
he produced Karate Kid 1, 2. He took Elvis Presley, Frank Sinatra on tour. Just the most persistent, legendary, awesome, fun guy I've ever heard stories about. And then I would say Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn is he was like Tony Robbins' mentor. He's definitely a guy that I would love to have dinner with. And then I would love to have dinner with a smoke show from the 50s and 60s, like Marilyn Monroe. I feel like that would be so much fun just to have a conversation with her.
But you already know her name, so what are you going to approach her with? You know she's Marilyn Monroe. You're not going to say, hey, what's your name?
Well, then I'll just
Maybe
say,
that would humble her.
no, but I'll just say, hey, I'm Brandon. Nice to meet you.
And she'll be like, all right, Brandon, I've had enough of you. All right, so you're eating whatever on the table. Okay, thanks for your answer. Moving on. Mike, if you were having your last meal, what would you have?
All right. If you had to guess, I'm going to turn this back on you. If you had to guess what my last meal
It would be
would
steak. It would be
Yeah.
probably a porterhouse or
Yeah.
ragu, probably
Yeah.
medium rare.
Yeah.
Mashed
Little cream
potatoes.
spinach.
Yeah, cream spinach.
But I feel like you'd have the same meal.
Yeah, for sure.
So are we having
The
that
problem-
meal
but I-
together?
Yeah, let's die. I'd think it through, though. I'd probably get like some Japanese A5 Wagyu. You know, if I'm doing it and I'm dying tomorrow.
Have you had it?
I had it on my birthday with my ex-girlfriend at Tony's at the J House. I think there are better, not Tony, you're great. I think there are better locations to potentially, like I'm going to go to Japan. But you see, I'm not going to go to Japan for my last meal. They're going to fly it to me because I'm dying. So
How do you know you're not dying in Japan?
I don't want to die in Japan. I want to die like in America. Like I know it here. I've like lived here my whole life, you know? Okay. That's it, guys.
That's it. 20 minutes flat, nice and easy.
You're 35. See you guys.
35?
35. 26.